The admiration of so many people and how few had anything bad to say about him. Considering the competitive environment within the company, this reveals the power you have to shortcut envy by placing attention on other people instead of yourself. This reveals the power you have to shortcut envy by placing attention. You have to shortcut envy by placing attention. You have to shortcut envy by placing attention on other people instead of yourself and engaging with them on a meaningful level. If you find yourself under an envy attack, your best strategy is to control your emotions. It is much easier it is much easier to do this once you realize that envy is the source. The envier feeds upon your overreaction as material to criticize you, justify their actions, and entangle you in some further drama. At all costs, maintain your composure. If possible, get some physical distance as well. Fire them, cut off contact, whatever is possible. Do not imagine you can somehow repair the relationship. Your generosity is trying this will only intensify their feeling of inferiority. They will strike again. By all means, defend yourself from any public attack or gossip that they spread. From any public attack or gossip that they spread. But do not harbor revenge. But do not harbor revenge fantasies. The envier is miserable. The best strategy is let to them stew in their cold poison from a distance without any further means of wounding you. As Mary did to Jane, the chronic unhappiness is punishment enough. Finally, you might imagine that envy is somewhat rare occurrence in the modern world. After all, is a primitive childish emotion, and we live in a such sophisticated time. Furthermore, not many people discuss or analyze envy as a major social factor. But the truth is that envy is more prevalent now than ever before, largely because of social media. Through social media, we have a continual window into the lives of pseudo friends, and celebrity. And what we see is not some unvarnished peek into their world, but a highly idealized image that they present. We see only the more exciting images from their vacation, the happy faces of their friends, and children accounts of their continual self improvement. The fascinating people they are meeting, the great cause and project they are involved in, the examples of success in their endeavors. Are we having as much fun? Are our lives we seemingly fulfilled as theirs? Are we perhaps missing out on something? Are we lives are we lives as seemingly fulfilled as theirs? Are we perhaps missing out on something? We generally believe, and for good reason, that we are all entitled so share in the good life. But if our peers seem to have more, someone or something must be to blame. What we experience in this case is a generalized feeling of dissatisfaction. Low grade envy sits inside us, waiting to be triggered into the more acute variety of something we read or see intensifies our insecurities. Such diffuse envy Such diffuse envy among large group of people can even become a political force. A demagogues can steer it against certain individual or groups of people who have or seem to have it easier than others. People can be unified through their underlying envy, but as with the potential variety, nobody will admit to this, nor will it ever be seen as such. Public envy can be quickly turned against public figure, especially in the form of schism feud. When they experience some misfortune, witness the piling on of hostility toward Maratha steward, once he seemed to run afoul of the law, gossip about the powerful become an industry. What this means is simple. We will find more and more people around us prone to feeling passive envy that can turn into the virulent form that can turn into the that can turn into the virulent form. If if we are not careful, we must be prepared to feel its effect coming from friends, colleagues, and the public if we are in the public eye. In such an overheated social environment, learning to recognize the sign and being able to identify envy type is an absolute critical skill to develop. And since we are now all more susceptible to feeling envy ourselves, we must also learn how to manage this emotion within ourselves, transforming it into something positive and productive. हाय नितेश हेलो कैसे हो आप सब हाय लव नितेश क्या हाल चाल है थैंक यू लव नितेश मैं भी बढ़िया हूँ कहाँ से हो आप आप सब जो भी ज्वाइन कर रहे हो कृपया आपने ये कृपया मेंशन भी कर दो कि आप लोग कहाँ से हो मैं तो वेस्ट बंगाल से हूँ तो क्या पता चल जाए कि सब वेस्ट बंगाल से हो या फिर आउट ऑफ स्टेट्स हाँ अच्छा मैं सुंदर दिख रही हूँ मतलब हूँ नहीं ओके আমি কলকাতা থাকি ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল বাহ খুব ভালো তো কোথা থেকে ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলে जिस नाम लेकर पूछेंगे तो सब बताएंगे हाँ प्लीज सर तो आप बताएं आप कहाँ से हो नितिश लाभ बैरकपुर ओ लाभ अपनी बैरकपुर था कौन लाभ काछाकाছি তো गोरखपुर से हो आप वाह यूपी में गुड गोरखपुर अच्छी जगह है वहाँ तो यूनिवर्सिटी भी बन रही है ना नाइट আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এখানে নাইট গার্ড আছে, ডেইলি এদের ডিউটি থাকে। नीतीश मैं वेस्ट बंगाल से हूँ। Beyond envy, like most humans, you will tend to deny that you ever experience envy, at least strong enough to act on. You are simply not being honest with yourself. As described above, you are only conscious of the indignation or resentment. You feel that cover up the initial pangs of envy. You need to overcome the natural resistance to seeing the emotions as it first stir within you. We all compare ourselves with others. We all feel unsettled by those who are superior in some area that we esteem. We all feel unsettled by those who are superior in some area that we esteem. And we all react to this by feeling some form of envy. It is weird into our nature. Studies have shown that monkeys feel envy. You can being with example with a simple experiment. Next time you hear or read about the sudden success of someone in your field, notice an inevitable feeling of wanting the same, the pang and the subsequent hostility. However, vague toward the person you envy, it happened quickly and you can easily miss the transition. But try to catch it. It is natural to go through this emotional sequence and there should be no guilt attached. Monitoring yourself and seeing more such instances will only help you in the slow process of moving beyond envy. Let us be realistic, however, and realize that it is almost impossible to rid ourselves of the compulsion to compare ourselves with other. It is so ingrained. It is so ingrained in our nature as a social animal. Instead, what we must aspire to is to slowly transform our comparing inclination into something positive, productive, and pro-social. The following are are simple exercises to help you in achieving this. Move closer to what you envy. Envy thrives on relative closeness. In a corporate environment where people see each other every day, in a family, in a neighborhood, in any group of peers, but people tend to hide their problem and to put their best face forward. We only see and hear of their triumph, their new relationship, their brilliant idea that will land them a gold mine. If we moved closer, if we saw the quell that go on behind closed doors, or the horrible boss that goes with that new job, we would have less reason to feel envy. Nothing is ever so perfect as it seems. And often we would see that we are mistaken if we only look closely enough. Spend time with the family you envy and wish you had as your own, and you will begin to resist your opinion. If you envy people with greater fame and attention, remind yourself that such attention comes a lot of hostility and scrutiny that is quite painful. Wealthy people are often miserable. Read any account of the wealthy people are often miserable. Read any account of the last 10 years of the life of Aristotle Onassis, 1906 to 1975, one of the wealthiest men in history, married to the glamorous Jacqueline Kennedy, and you will see that his wealth brought him endless nightmares, including the most spoiled and unloving of children. The process of moving closer is twofold. On the one hand, try to actually look behind the glittering facades people present. Look behind the glittering facade people present. And on the other hand, simply imagine, now look behind the glittering facade people presents. And on the other hand, simply imagine the inevitable disadvantages that go along with their position. This is not the same as leveling them down. You are not diminishing the achievement of those who are great. You are mitigating the envy you might feel for things in people's personal life. You are mitigating the envy you might feel for things in people's personal life. Engage in downward comparison. You normally focus on those who seems to have more than you. You normally focus on those who seems to have more than you, but it would be wiser to look at those who have less. There are always plenty of people to use for such a comparison. They live to harsher environment. They live in harsher environment, deal with more threat to their life, and have deeper level of insecurity about the future. You can even look at friends who have it much worse than you. This should stimulate not only empathy for the many who have less, but also greater gratitude for what you actually possess. Such gratitude is the best antidote to envy. Greater gratitude for what you actually possess. Such gratitude is the best antidote to envy. Hmm. Now I understood. As a related exercise, you can write up all the positive things in your life that you tend to take for granted, the people who have been kind and helpful to you, the healthy that you presently enjoy, the health that you presently enjoy. Gratitude is a muscle that require exercise or it will atrophy. Trophy. That's very true. नीचे से हम वेस्ट बंगाल से हैं. अच्छा. डीडीओ क्या है? अच्छा अच्छा, दीनदयाल उपाध्याय. पढ़ाई के बीच में बात करते हैं, थोड़ा पढ़ते हैं फिर थोड़ा बात करते हैं. Right, it's not a crazy statement, it's his opinion, na, that he shared with us. Not all wealthy people, but maybe 50% of wealthy people are miserable, according to the author. Poor people are more miserable. Yeah, definitely. It depends, person to person, na. He is making generalization. Hmm. Practice Mitfreud. Light, can you tell me the meaning of atrophy? ATROPHY? Atrophy means getting weaker. Oh, or it will gratitude is a muscle that require exercise, or it will atrophy. Good. Thank you. You're like my dictionary. Practice mid-Freud. Scandin Freud, the experience of pleasure in the pain of other people. The pain of other people. The experience of pleasure in the pain of other people. Experience of pleasure in the pain of the other people is distinctly related to envy, as several studies have demonstrated. When we envy someone, we are prone to feel excitement, even joy, if they experience a setback or suffer in some way. But it would be wise to practice instead the opposite. What the philosopher, what the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche called Mitfreud, join with, as he wrote, the serpent that string us means to hurt us and rejoice and it does so. The lowest animal can imagine the pain of others, but to imagine the joy of other and to rejoice at it at it and to rejoice at it is the highest privilege of the highest animal. This means that instead of merely congratulating people on the good fortune, something easy to do and easily forgotten, you must instead actively try to feel their joy as a form of empathy. This can be somewhat unnatural as our first tendency is to feel a pang of envy, but we can train ourselves to imagine how it must feel to others to experience their happiness or satisfaction. This is not only cleans our brain of ugly envy, but also create an unusual form of rapport. If we are the target of mid-feud, we feel the other person's genuine excitement at our good fortune. Instead of just hearing words, and it includes us to feel the same for them, because it is such a rare occurrence. It contains great power to bound people. Because acha, it contains great power to bound people, and it internalizing other people's joy, we increase our own capacity to feel the emotion in relation to our own experiences, transmute envy into emulation. We cannot stop the comparing mechanism in our brain. So it is best to redirect it into something productive and creative. Instead of wanting to hurt or steal from the person who has achieved more, we should desire to raise ourselves up to his or her level. In this way, and we become a spur to excellence. We may even try to be around people who will stimulate such competitive desire, people who are slightly above us in skill level. To make this work require a few psychological shifts. First, we must come to believe that we have the capacity to raise ourselves up. Confidence in our overall abilities to learn and improve will serve as a tremendous antidote to envy. Instead of wishing to have what another has and resorting to sabotage out of helplessness, we feel the urge to get the same for ourselves and believe we have the ability to do so. Second, we must develop a solid work ethic to back this up. If we are rigorous and persistent, we will be able to overcome almost any obstacle and elevate our position. People who are lazy and undisciplined are much more prone to feeling envy. People who are lazy and undisciplined are much more prone to feeling envy. Related to this, having a sense of purpose, a feel for your calling in life. Related to this, having a sense of purpose, a feel for your calling in life is a great way to immunize yourself against envy. You are focused on your own life and plans, which are clear and invigorating. What gives you satisfaction is realizing your potential, not earning attention from the people, which is fleeting. You have much less need to compare. Your sense of self worth comes from within, not from without. Admire human greatness. Admiration is the polar opposite of envy. We are acknowledging people achievements, celebrating them without having no feel insecure, without having to feel insecure. We are admitting their superiority in the art or science or in business without feeling pain from this. But this goes further. In recognizing the greatness of someone, we are celebrating the highest potential of our species. We are experiencing mid feud with the best in human nature. We share the pride that comes from any great human achievement. Such admiration elevates us above the pettiness of our day-to-day life, and will have a calming effect. Although it is easier to admire without any taint of envy those who are dead, we must try to include at least one living person in our pantheon. If we are young enough, such object of admiration can also serve as model to emulate, at least to some degree. Finally, it is worth cultivating moment in life in which we feel immense satisfaction and happiness divorced from our own success or achievement. This happens commonly when we find ourselves in a beautiful landscape, the mountain, the sea, a forest, and we do not feel the praying, comparing eyes of others, the need to have more attention or to assert ourselves. We are simply in awe of what we see, and it is intensely thera- um, therapeutic. This can also occur when we contemplate the immensity of the universe, the uncanny set of circumstances, the uncanny set of circumstances that had to come together for us to be born, the vast reaches of time before us and after us. These are sublime moments and as far removed from the pettiness and poisonous of envy as possible. For not many men can love the friend who fortunate prospers without envying, and about the envious brain, cold poison clings and double all the pain. Cold poison clean and double all the pain. Life bring him his own wounding. He must nurse and feel another's gladness like a curse. I think this chapter is basically depend on today's life, related to our social media, that we see other people's and we become jealous and feel then think about ourselves that they are so happy in their lives, and what are we doing? So envy comes from within, na? And it's common and natural. So I think writer is correct. Maybe 80%. He confused knowledge with intelligence. Writer is confused. Hi Chandan, how are you? And where are you from? Hi. कहाँ से हो आप? एमपी। एमपी में कहाँ से? या एमपी में मध्य प्रदेश, ये हमको पता है, पर मध्य, अच्छा इंदौर से। सबसे क्लीनेस्ट सिटी मानी जाती है ना इंदौर में। वहाँ पे एक सर है, वो क्या बोलते हैं, इंदौर फिजिकल एकेडमी, क्या नाम है उनको जानो? कुछ परिहार है, जितेंद्र परिहार। हाँ। Envy and other emotions are a byproduct of one's desire. Yeah, absolutely right. And I think envy is a common. If you see others people, if you see that other people are growing and they are happy in their life, much more achieving achiever than us, like generally we saw in social media, na, then it comes naturally. We are human being and it's natural things. एमपी में उसी एकेडमी के स्टूडेंट, ओहो वेरी गुड यार, हमको भी जाना था बट हो नहीं पाया। तो आप क्या अभी भी वहीं पे हैं, हम ना वहाँ से निकल चुके हैं? वैसे आप अच्छे हो, थैंक यू। आप भी अच्छे हो, तभी इतनी प्यारी बात करते हो। सोशल मीडिया जस्ट सीड्स एन एक्सट्रीम लाइट ऑन इट, नॉट एक्सट्रीम, extra 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 extreme. Nobody share on social media, nobody share their dark side or their saddest part. Everyone present their good part and the beautiful moments. So other people just saw those pics and videos and they feel envy. Oh, congratulations Chandan. किस में लगी है? No one wants to hear the bad part. No, not at all. If anyone's here, everyone wants to hear. It's like a telesoap, like serials, that mirch masala and all. So good parts, bad parts, saddest part, worst part. So it's it's antennas, na. But in social media, on social media, people only show their good part. रेलवे में, वाह, रेलवे में कौन से स्ट्रीट में? To gossip, to say glad I'm not them. I didn't understand. What are you saying? Means right now I'm talking. That's why you don't like that. You want me to read. That what are you trying to tell me? Lobby station assistant. Oh, good, good, very good. वैसे चंदन एमपी में ही पोस्टेड हो. That's why no one share the bad part. Oh, अच्छा अच्छा. मैं मैं स्टूडेंट हूँ चंदन. लास्ट 2 मंथ बचे हैं. उसके बाद हम जॉब करेंगे. बट अभी फ़िलहाल हम स्टूडेंट ही हैं. Everyone gossip about other people, so it's a common. मैं कम्युनिकेशन फील्ड में जाना चाहती हूँ. जैसे लैंग्वेज ये हुआ, क्या बोलते हैं, ट्रांसलेशन हुआ ना. अदर कंट्रीज के साथ आप उनके लैंग्वेज में बात करो, वैसा. Somehow you are right, light. Those who are fond of their work, they have no time to gossip about other people. But those who are fond of talking, so they are gossiping about other people, like most of the aged person doing. Okay. Know your limits. The law of grandiosity. We humans have a deep need to think highly of ourselves. If that opinion of our goodness, greatness, and brilliance diverges enough from reality, we become grandiose. We imagine our superiority. Often, a small measure of success will elevate our natural grandiosity to even more dangerous level. Our high self-opinion has now been confirmed by event. We forgot the role that luck may have played in the success or the contribution of others. We may we imagine we have the golden touch. We imagine we have the golden touch. Losing contact with reality, we make irrational decisions. That is why our success often does not last. Look for the sign of elevate grandiosity in yourself and in others, overbearing certainty in the positive outcome of your plans. Excessive touchiness is, if criticized, a disdain of any form of authority. Counteract counteract the pull of grandiosity by maintaining a realistic assessment of yourself and your limits. Tie tie any feeling of greatness to your work, your achievement, and your contribution to society. The success delusion. By the summer of 1984, Michael Eisner, in 1942, president of Paramount Picture, could no longer ignore the restlessness that had been plaguing that had been plaguing him for months. He was impatient to move on to a bigger stage and shake the foundation of Hollywood. This restlessness had been the story of his life. He had begun his career at ABC and never settling too comfortably within one department. After 9 years of various promotions, he had been risen to the position of head of prime time programming. But televisions began to seem small and constricting to him. He needed a larger, grander street. In 1976, Barry Diller, a former boss at ABC and now the chairman of Paramount Pictures, offered him the job of heading Paramount's film studio, and he jumped at the chance. Paramount had long been in the doldrums, but working with Diller, Eisner transformed it into the hottest studio in Hollywood, with a string of remarkable success films, Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Flashdance, and terms of endearment. Although Diller certainly played a part in this turnaround, Eisner Eisner saw himself as the main driving force behind the studio's success. After all, he had invented a surefire formula for creating profitable films. The formula depended on keeping costs down. An obsession of this to do so, a film had to begin with a great concept, one that was original, easy to summarize, and dramatic. Executive could hire the most expensive writer, director, and actor for a film, but if the underlying concept was weak, all the money in the world would be wasted. Film, wa- film Films with a strong concept, however, would market themselves. Film with a strong concept, however, would market themselves. A studio could churn this relatively inexpensive film out in volume, and even if they were only moderate hits, they would ensure a steady flow of income. This thinking went against the grain of the blockbuster mentality of the late 1970s. But who could argue with the undeniable profit Eisner had generated for Paramount? Eisner immortalized this formula in a memo that soon spread around Hollywood and become gospel. But after so many years of sharing the limelight with delayed at Paramount, trying to please her, trying to please corporate CEOs and pushing back against marketing directors and finance people, Eisner had had enough. If only he could run his own studio unfettered with the formula he had created and with his relentless ambition, he could forge the greatest and most profitable entertainment empire in the world. He was tired of other people piggybacking on his ideas and success. Operating on top and alone, he could control the show and take all the credit. As Eisner contemplated the next critical move in his career that summer of 84, he finally settled upon the perfect target of his ambition, the Walt Disney Company. At first glance, this would seem a puzzling choice. Since the death of Walt Disney in 1966, the Walt Disney Film Studio seemed frozen in the time, getting wider in with each passing year. The place operated more like a stodgy men's club. Many executives stopped working after lunch and spent the afternoon in card games or would launch about in the steam room on site. Hardly anyone was ever fired. The studio produced one animated film about every 4 years, and in 1983, produced a meager three live action films. They had not had a single hit film since The Love Bug in 1968. The Disney lot in Burbank almost seemed like a ghost town. The actor Tom Hanks, who worked on the lot in 1983, described it as a greyhound bus station in the 1950s. Given it dilapidated condition, a grey given it a dilapidated condition. Uh, however, this would be the perfect place for Eisen to work his magic. The studio and the corporation could only move up. Its board members were desperate to turn it around and avoid a hostile takeover. Eisner could dictate the terms of his leadership positions. Eisner could dictate the terms of his leadership position, presenting himself to Roy Disney, Walt nephew, and the largest shareholder of Disney stock. At the company's savior, he laid out a detailed and inspiring plan for a dramatic turnaround greater than Paramount's, and Roy was won over. With Roy's blessing, the board approved the choice, and in September 1984, Eisner was named chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Frank Wells, the former head of Warner Bros., was named president and chief operating officer. Wells would focus on the business side. In all matter, Eisner was the boss. Wells was there to help and serve him. Eisner wasted no time. He embarked on a major restructuring of the company, which led to the departure of over 1,000 employees. He started filling the executive rank with Paramount people, most notably Jeffrey Katzenberg, B. 1950, who had worked as Eisner's right-hand man at Paramount and was now named chairman of Walt Disney Studios. Katzenberg could be abrasive and downright rude, but no one in Hollywood was more efficient or worked harder. He simply got things done. Within months, Disney began to churn out a remarkable series of hits, adhering to Eisner's formula, fitting off first 17 films such as Down and Out in Beverly Hills and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, generated profit a run of success amount unheard of for any studio in Hollywood. One day, an Isaac explored the Burbank lot with Wells. They entered the Disney library and discovered hundreds of cartoons from the golden era that had never been shown. Their endless shelves were stored on all of the great Disney classic animated hits. Eisner's eyes lit up at the sight of this treasure. He could review all of this cartoon and animated film on video. The home video market was in the midst of exploding, and it would be pure profit. Based on this cartoon, the company could create a store to market the various Disney character. Disney was a virtual gold mine waiting to be exploited, and Eisner would make the most of this. Soon the stores opened, the video sold like crazy. The film hit kept pumping profit into the company, and Disney stock price soared. It had replaced Paramount as the hottest film studio in town, wanting to cultivate a more public presence. Eisner decided to revive the wonderful world of Disney and Horlong television. Such form, no, her and Horlong television show from the 50s and 60s, hosted by Walt Disney himself. This time, Eisner would be the host. He was not a natural in front of the camera, But he felt audience would grow to like him. He would be confronting to children like Walt himself. In fact, he began to feel that two of them were somehow magically connected, as if he were more than just the head of the corporation, but rather the natural son and successor to Walt Disney himself. Hmm, completed. Yeah, all American classic movies and shows. Do you watch American movies? I only watch their blogs, American people's blogs on YouTube. Earlier, 2 3 months ago, or maybe 6 months ago, I watched one film, one or two film on Netflix. But I noticed that they present the same concept in every movie. So I leave. And the condition of females is very bad on those movies. In which movies? I forgot the names, but I watch on Netflix 6 months ago. In every movie, they show that first of all they do love marriage, and after that they got they after after the born of their baby, few months or few years later, the boy is cheated on girl and he give her divorced, and the girl is become restless and what to do. Then again girl is focus on herself, maintain her looks and all and everything. Then again she found a new boyfriend and married him. So in every movies I notice that concept. So I leave there. You're American. There's a lot of other movies. I don't know. I watch that kind of movies, so I leave them. I thought that all movies are same on America, so I leave. And after seeing that, I'm literally shocked. What the condition of females there? Means they are so well educated, they are good looking, but what a condition. Mostly after marriage, American girls do not focus on themselves. They only focus on their house, their kids, and their husbands. So after few times, their husband leave them and found another girl. In that case, India is the best. Okay, okay, like that's all for today's. Thank you. Tata. Good night. Bye bye and take care. See you tomorrow.